Non-farm payrolls, 227,000. That's slightly above forecasts. Could be inflationary, who knows? So, things in the States are not looking too bad. US equity markets also remain close and hovering around record highs. In China, we just had some inflation data. Now, that is not that good too. We'll run through that as well. And oil slips on supply surpluses and concerns in the number one consumer, China. Let's have a look now, a little bit deeper dive on what's happening in the States. I think that's important. The US labour market, it continues to demonstrate resilience. The non-farm payrolls came up 227,000. The market was looking for 214,000. Now, the previous number we know was quite negative, but this report, I guess, surpassing expectations, sort of suggests that we do have that growth. And there's this underlying strength that's come back to the American economy, which, mind you, we're not seeing anywhere else in the world. But maybe it's the Trump effect, who knows? But what we've also seen here is not just robust jobs data, but we're also seeing expanding consumer credit. And that suggests that households remain quite confident to borrow and spend. And at the same time, we're also seeing consumer confidence. And consumer confidence has reached an 8-month high, I guess further underscoring this optimism that is permeating through the US economy. But I think at the end of the day, against this, we look at inflation. And we look at the forecast for future inflation in the States is pretty much showing close to a 5-year high. Now, that is a little bit of a worry, particularly when we got the Trump economics starting to come through. And as a result of that, we think that's going to be inflationary. So let's see. But this week in the States, we've got inflation data. Inflation data will give us a good key as to whether or not we'll see the Fed Reserve move on interest rates, which is December 19, or they won't. My suggestions this week, particularly coming out on Wednesday, will be a number that is pretty much unchanged from the previous, so pretty steady, much steady as she goes. I think the concern thing there is if it is a slight uptick, that'll sway the Fed's decision to move on interest rates. And I would think that's probably the way to go. That's what I'd like to see. And also equity markets then to start to correct a little bit from these dizzy heights. Remember, they are just hanging around these highs, and to me, that is a bit of a concern. I guess also when you look at it, you look at what's happening in inflation in China. Now, we've noted last week as well that the European economy is not going that well. We've also talked about China's economy not going that well. But the inflation number which we saw out of China today showed that disinflation is certainly there. And to me, that sort of underscores, I guess, the importance of what we're perceiving in terms of the PBOC stimulus policies and whether or not they're actually working. Or, put another way, is the PBC actually managing a spiralling down of the Chinese economy and managing it very well? When you do look at the numbers, the year-on-year inflation rate stood at just increase of 0.2. The forecast was an increase of 0.5. But more alarmingly, the monthly data showed a decline of 0.6%, exceeding expectations there of down 0.2%. So that, in my mind, is slightly concerned. And that should permeate also through to what we see in the commodity markets, which we're not actually seeing. So to me, commodity markets are relatively stable, looking for more price declines. Obviously, when we look at the price of oil, remember OPEC last week announced that they were keeping their outputs. They perceive there's an oversupply coming, bit of a glut. That makes sense when you look at the peripheral economies to the US, where we can actually see inherent weakness. So I think if anything there, production cuts will remain in force in OPEC until the end of 2026. So that should, we thought, lend support to the oil market. Certainly hasn't. Prices remain under pressure, particularly on the week. And I think that trend is set to continue a little bit, particularly when you see other economies, particularly China, being quite soft there. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and click like to inspire you to take trading actions.